Have you ever wondered how to solve a base problem like this? Well, in this video, we're going to go over 12 different base problems and solve all of them. Let's do it. Alright, so to solve base problems, there is two basic functions you need to know. And that's converting to 10 and converting from 10. Let's look at an example of each of these. So our first problem is an example of converting to 10. So 54 base 7 equals what base 10? Alright, so we have the number 54. And it's to the base of 7. So what that means is each place value is multiplied by a power of 7. So this is your ones place, and this is your tens place. So how this usually works is when given a number, so in this example we're given 7. For the ones place, you multiply it by the 7 power 0, or whatever number is given as the base to the power of 0. For the tens place, you do 7 power 1, or whatever number given, power 1. For the hundreds place, 7 power 2, whatever number to the power of 2. And you get the pattern. It just keeps going on in this order. So thousands would be 7 power 3, or whatever number given to the power of 3. Alright, now that you know that, we need to do the solving. Alright, 5 and 4. These are separate numbers as of now. So we need to multiply each of these by their corresponding number. So times 7, both of these, but 7 to the power of what? Well, if we remember, whenever it's the ones place, it's 7 to the power of 0. For the tens place, it's 7 to the power of 1. So these two is 4 times 7 power of 0. So any number to the power of 0, so for this example 7, so 7 power 0 equals 1, because any number to the power of 0 will always equal 1. Alright, so 1 times 4, that is just 4. And 5 times 7, because any number to the power of 1 is just that number by itself. So 5 times 7 is 35. Alright, now you need to add both of these numbers. So 35 plus 4, that equals 39. And that's your answer. Alright, now let's look at an example of converting from base 10. So we've given the problem 42 base 10 equals what base 6? Alright, so we have given our number 42. So 42 base 10 equals what base 6? Off the bat, any number to base 10 is just that number by itself. So 42 base 10 is just 42. Alright, so 42 equals what base 6? So to solve this, we need to list out the powers of 6. So we start off with 1 because 6 power 0 equals 1. Next up we have 6 because 6 power 1 is just 6. Then we have 36 because 6 squared, or 6 to the power of 2, is 36. And then we have 216. 216 is just 6 power 3, or 6 cubed. We can stop now because we're just looking until our number is not bigger than 42. So what that means is, if you look at 1, 1 is less than 42. If we look at 6, 6 is less than 42. If we look at 36, 36 is less than 42. But if we look at 216, 216 is greater than 42. So we don't need this. So we can get rid of this. So now we just need these three. So we have 36, 6, and 1. And we can write our 42 one more time over here. Now we solve this like a division problem, but it's slightly different. So how many times does 36 go into 42? Well, it's just 1. But instead of writing the 1 on top like a normal division problem, you write the 1 right here. Or on top of this, as long as you write it near the number. So 42 minus 36. That gets you 6. Next, how much times does 6 go into 6? Once. So we write it here. Now we subtract 6. And finally, how much times does 1 go into 0? It can go into 0, so it's 0. So now we have 1, 1, 0. And we write that as one big number of 110. And that's your answer. Okay, now let's look at 10 more base problems. 67 base 10 equals what base 6? Alright, so we can list out our powers of 6. So that's 1, 6, 36, 216. Oh wait, 216 is greater than 67. So we stop right here at 6 power 3. So now we just have 6 power 2, which is 36, 6 power 1, which is 6, and 6 power 0, which is 1. Alright, so we have our 36, 6, and 1. And over here, we have our 67. Okay, how much times does 36 go into 67? It only goes in once, so we can write a 1 here and subtract 36. So 67 minus 36 is 31. Okay, next. How much times does 6 go into 31? 6 goes into 31 5 times because 6 times 5 equals 30. Alright, so we subtract 30 and we're left with 1. How much times does 1 go into 1? Just once. So now we're given the number of 151, which is just 151. And that's your answer. Okay, next up. 47 base 10 plus 29 base 10 equals 8. Alright, so as seen in the second problem, any number to the base 10 is just that number by itself. So all this is asking is 47 plus 29 in a parentheses base 10 equals what base 8? So 47 plus 29 is just 76. So 76 base 10 equals what base 8? Alright, let's solve this. So the powers of 8. So 8 power 0 is 1. 8 power 1 is 8. 8 squared to the power of 2 is 64. And 8 cubed, or 8 power 3, is 512. Okay, now we know that 512 is bigger than 76, so we don't need this. So we just have 8 squared, 8 to the power of 1, and 8 to the power of 0, which is 64, 8, and 1. Alright, now let's solve further. So how much times does 64 go into 76? That's once. So we subtract 64, and we have 12 left over. How much times does 8 go into 12? Once. So we subtract 8, and we have 4 left over. And finally, how much times does 1 go into 4? 4, because 4 times 1 equals 4. So now we're given 1, 1, 4, and we combine that to get 114, and that's your answer. Alright, next. 16 base 9 plus 41 base 9 equals what base 10? Alright, so here's a rule. When you're adding two numbers of the same base, you can just write this as 16 plus 41 base 9, which is just 57 base 9, and that equals what base 10? Alright, so 5, 7, and now we need to identify our powers of 9. So 7 times 9 to the power of 0, because this is in the ones place, and we always multiply the ones place to the power of 0. Next, 5 times 9 to the power of 1, because it's in the tens place, and we always multiply the number in the tens place by whatever given number to the power of 1. Alright, so 9 to the power of 0 is just 1, because any number to the power of 0 is 1, and times 7, that's 7. Then 5 times 9 is just 45. So 45 plus 7 equals 52, and that's your answer. Alright, next up, 76 base 8 equals what base 9? You might be thinking, we don't know how to solve this yet because we only know how to convert to 10 and from 10. However, we can still use those two functions to solve this problem. So this problem can be solved by doing 76 base 8 equals what base 10, and then whatever we get as base 10 equals what base 9. So this base 10 equals what base 9, and that's how we would solve this problem. Alright, let's do it. So 7, 6. So 6 times 8 to the power of 0, because it's in the ones place, and 7 times 8 to the power of 1, because it's in the tens place. So now we multiply. That's 6 times 1, because any number to the power of 0 is 1, and that's 6. 7 times 8 is 56, and you add them up, and you get 62. Alright, now 62 is what we have base 10. Now we need to figure out what 62 base 10 is in base 9. Alright, so we can list out our powers of 9. That's 1, 9, 81, 729, and wait, since 81 and 729 are both over, we don't need these. So 9 and 1, and then 62 over here. Okay, so 9 goes into 62 6 times, because 9 times 6 is 54, which is less than 62. So we subtract 54, and we have 8. 1 goes into 8 8 times, because 1 times 8 is 8. And now we subtract 8, and that's 0. So we have 6, 8, or 68. And that's your answer. Next up, 54 base 6 plus 110 base 2 equals what base 10? So all we have to do is figure out what 54 base 6 is and convert it to base 10. And then add 110 base 2 converted to base 10. And that should get us our answer. So 54 base 6. So 4 times 6 power 0 because it's in the ones place. And 5 times 6 power 1 because it's in the tens place. So that's 1 times 4, which is 4. And 5 times 6, which is 30. So we add those and get 34. Next, 110 base 2. So 0 times 2 power 0. 1 times 2 power 1 because it's in the tens place. And 1 times 2 power 2 because it's in the hundreds place. Alright, so we add these up. So 0 times anything is 0. Plus 1 times 2, which is 2. Plus 1 times 2 squared, which is 4. So 4 plus 2 plus 0, which is 6. So 6 and 34. So 34 plus 6 equals 40. And that's your answer. 110,100 base 2 equals what base 4? So this is pretty similar to the earlier problem where we had to convert from base 8 to base 9. We need to convert from base 2 to base 10 and convert that to base 4. Alright, so 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0. So we can write this as 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0. Pretty spread apart. Now we have our ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, and hundreds thousands. So if you remember the pattern from last time, we're multiplying the ones by power of 0, tens by power of 1, hundreds by power of 2, thousands by power of 3, 10,000s by power of 4, and 100,000s by power of 5. And since it's base 2, it's 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 squared, 2 cubed, 2 power 4, 2 power 5. Now we just multiply all these and add up the products. Alright. So you can get rid of these because these are zeros, so no matter what, they'll all multiply up to 0. Now we just have these three. So 1 times 2 squared, which is just 4. 1 times 2 to the power of 4. So 2 to the power of 4 is 4 squared. And that's 16. And now 1 times 2 to the power of 5. So 2 to the power of 5 is 2 times 2 to the power of 4, which is 32. We add this up, and we get 52. Alright, now that we know that, we need to convert 52 base 10 into something base 4. So we can list out the powers of 4. So that's 1, 4, 16, 64. But 64 is bigger than 52, so we don't need that. So we only have 16, 4, and 1. So now let's solve further. So we have our 16, 4, and 1, and we have 52. Alright, so 16 goes into 52 3 times because 16 times 3 equals 48. So 3. Now we subtract 48. And we have 4 left over. 4 goes into 4 one time. And now we subtract 4. That's 0. And 1 goes into 0 0 times because you can't put 1 and 0. So now we have 3, 1, 0. That's 310. And that's your answer. Alright, next up. 34 base 5 times 23 base 5 equals what base 5? Alright, so this is not like the addition problem where we can just multiply all of these since it's all base 5. We still have to convert this to base 10, and then we have to change it back to base 5. Alright, let's do it. So, 34 base 5. So, 3 and 4. So, 4 times 5 power 0, which is 1. And 3 times 5 power 1, which is 5. So, that's 4 plus 3 times 5, which is 15. So, that's 19. Alright, next. 23 base 5. So, 23 base 5. So, that's 2, and that's a 3. So, times 5 power 1 because it's in the tens place, and times 5 power 0 because it's in the ones place. So that's 3 times 1, which is 3, and that's 2 times 5, which is 10. Now you add them up, and you get 13. So now we do 19 times 13. So 19 times 13 is 247. Alright, now we need to convert this 247 into base 5. Alright, so 247 base 10 equals what base 5? So let's list out our powers of 5. So we have 1, 5, 25, 125, and 625. Let's say 625 is bigger than 247. We don't need it, so we only need these 4. So now 247. So how much times does 125 go into 247? Once. So we subtract 125, and we have 122 left over. Alright, next. How much times does 25 go into 122? 4 times, because 25 times 4 equals 100. So we subtract 100, and we left 22. Next, how much times does 5 go into 22? 4, because 5 times 4 equals 20. So we subtract 20, and we're left with 2. How much times does 1 go into 2? Twice. And so we're left with 1, 4, 4, 2. And we combine that to get 1,442. And that's your answer. Alright, next up. 54 base 7 plus 201 base 3 plus 110 base 2 equals what base 10? Alright, so all we have to do is convert all these to base 10 and add them. So, 54 base 7. So that's 5 and 4. So 5 times 7 power 1 because it's in the tens place. And 4 times 7 power 0 because it's in the ones place. So that's 4 plus 5 times 7, which is 35. So we add these and we get 39. Next, 201 base 3. So we have 2, 0, and 1. So 2 times 3 square, or 3 power 2, because it's in the hundreds place. 0 times 3 power 1, because it's in the tens place. And 1 times 3 power 0, because it's in the ones place. We add these up, and we get 1 times 1, which is just 1. 0, which just cancels out. And 2 times 9, because 3 square is 9. And that's 18. So 18 plus 1 equals 19. Alright, finally, 110 base 2. So that's 1, 1, 0. So 1 times 2 power 2, because it's in the hundreds place. 1 times 2 power 1, because it's in the tens place. And 0 times 2 power 0, because it's in the ones place. So 0 cancels out. 1 times 2 is just 2. And then 1 times 2 square, which is 4. So that's just 4. So 4 plus 2 equals 6. And now we just add up these numbers. So 39, 19, and 6. And that gets you 64. And that's your answer. Next up, 101,111, or 101,111 base 2 equals what base 8? So we just have to convert this base 2 number to a base 10 and convert that base 10 number to a base 8. Let's do it. So 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1. So this is the ones place, tens place, hundreds place, thousands place, 10,000s, and 100,000s. Alright, so this is multiplied by 2 power 5 because it's in the 100,000s. This is multiplied by 2 power 4, because it's in the 10,000s. This is multiplied by 2 power 3, because it's in the thousands. This is multiplied by 2 power 2, or 2 squared, because it's in the hundreds. This is multiplied by 2 power 1, because it's in the tens. And this is multiplied by 2 power 0, because it's in the ones. Alright, so we can get rid of this one, because it's multiplied by 0. So 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 2 squared, which is 4, is just 4. 1 times 2 cubed, or 2 power 3, is just 1 times 8, which is 8. And then 1 times 2 power 5. So 2 power 5 is 32. So 1 times 32 is just 32. And now we add all of these. And we get 47. But now we need to convert this 47 base 10 into the base 8 number. Alright, so let's list out our powers of 8. So we have 1, 8, 64. Alright, 64 is bigger than 47, so we can't use it. So we just have 8 and 1. So 47. So 8 and 1. And now we have our 47 over here. Alright, so 8 goes into 47 how much times? That is 5, because 8 times 5 is 40. So we subtract 40, and we're left with 7. How much times does 1 go into 7? 7, because 1 times 7 is 7. So now we have 5, 7, and together that's 57, and that's your answer. Next, 45 base 7 equals what base 9 plus 14 base 10? So we can treat this like a variable equation. So we're given x, and we're given z, but we're trying to figure out what y is, because we don't know what y is. Alright, so in this case, our x is 45 base 7, and our z is 14 base 10. And we don't know what the base 9 number is. Alright, so what we can do is, we can bring this 14 base 10 over here. And this becomes 45 base 7 minus 14 base 10 equals what base 9? Now this is much easier to solve. So let's first solve for 45 base 7. So 45. So 5 times 7 power 0, because it's in the ones place, and 4 times 7 power 1, because it's in the tens place. So that's 5 times 1, which is 5, and 4 times 7, which is 28. So we add these, and we get 33. So 33 minus 14 equals what base 9? So 33 minus 14 is 19. So 19 base 10 equals what base 9? So let's list out our powers. So we have 1, 9, 81, but 81 is bigger than 19, so we don't need it. So it's just 9 and 1, and we have our number 19. So 9 goes into 19 twice, because 9 times 2 is 18. So 2, and we subtract 18. That leaves us with 1. And 1 goes into 1 once. So now we just combine these, and it's 21. And that's your answer. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to show your support. These videos take a lot of effort to make, and I would really appreciate it.